Hello everybody, this is soyachinchow.com and this is a video review of the OnePlus 2. The OnePlus brand has created quite a buzz last year. With its high performance and low price offering, it's rightfully called the flagship killer. For 2015, here comes the 2 with upgraded specs and also a slightly higher price tag. So what do you get with the OnePlus 2? It retains the similar 5.5-inch Full HD display, which OnePlus claims to have been improved with greater contrast. In the hands, the front, especially the slightly curved top, reminds us of the distant cousin, the Oppo Find 7. While it isn't a Quad HD display, we have no complaints on the screen, and the Full HD resolution works just fine. The overall body of the OnePlus 2 feels more premium with its metal frame, and it does feel quite heavy in the hands. At the back, you get a sandstone cover by default, which is removable by prying it open from the sides. On the left, you find this new alert slider, which lets you switch from normal, priority, and silent mode instantly with a simple push. This is similar to the iPhone status switch at the side, but the priority option gives you better control on which contacts or notification that can get through. For navigation, the front of the device comes with 2 capacitive buttons, which are identified with a single line. And there's a good reason for that. You can switch between capacitive or on-screen buttons. So depending on your preference, you can have the left button to go back, or you can swap it around to have the recent apps key. Personally, we have set it up to have the camera app launch when the home button is double tapped. And to switch off the screen, you can do so by double tapping on the recent apps button, and it's fully customizable. Right smack in the middle is a fingerprint sensor, which is sunken slightly into the device. During its initial teaser, it was called the most advanced fingerprint scanner, but from a long-term experience, it is quite a hit and miss affair. For this to work properly, you need to be very conscious that this is a fingerprint scanner and to ensure that your finger is fully pressed onto it. Unlike the iPhone 6 or Galaxy S6, this isn't a button. It is actually a flat capacitive key like the HTC One M9 Plus. We noticed that it doesn't really work if our fingers are slightly damp or greasy, and this isn't as good as the Galaxy S6, and it's not as fast as the Honor 7. For the Android purists, or for those who hate custom UI and bloatwares, the Oxygen OS is quite a pleasant experience to use. Currently running on Android 5.1.1 Lollipop, it gives a very stock Android experience, and is quite responsive as well. You get a typical home screen with app drawer, and there's an optional shelf which learns about your frequent used apps, contacts, and you can even add widgets onto it. In the menus, you do get to choose between light and dark color themes, and you get heaps of customization from LED notification colors, grid size, button actions, and off-screen gestures just like Oppo smartphones. Under the hood, the OnePlus 2 runs on a 64-bit Snapdragon 810 processor with 4GB of RAM. It's capable at everything we throw at it, and on the question on overheating, that's not really a problem here. Even when we run intensive games and benchmarks, it does get a little bit warm around the top frame, but it's not hot enough to be a major concern. If there's one area to complain, it will be the battery life of the OnePlus 2. After getting its newer Oxygen OS 2.0.2 update, the battery life is slightly better now, pulling about 14 to 15 hours of use on a single charge, with about 4.5 hours of screen on time. That's not bad for a typical flagship, but we expected much more since it packs a huge 3300 mAh battery and it powers a lower Full HD display. Looking at the bottom of the device, it uses USB Type-C, and this is the first device that we've tried that comes with this so-called future-proof standard. So is it a big deal? Actually, it's more of an annoyance. There's no fast charge, and it took us about 2 hours to charge it from 0 to full with this standard 2 amp charger. But if you left it at home, you're going to have a hard time, since nobody else is going to have a spare Type-C cable lying around. The bottom twin grills does look like a pair of stereo speakers, but actually it's just a mono speaker right at the bottom. The other side is actually for the microphone. The speaker is loud enough for most use, but it isn't as great as compared to other flagship smartphones out there. For manual ticks, there's Max Audio built-in tuner, which lets you change sound profiles and make some equalizer adjustments. Now onto the camera. The 13MP main shooter is pretty good, and it comes assisted with optical image stabilization and a fast laser autofocus. While the picture quality turns out to be above average, we don't really like the UI. It looks plain simple, and the settings and options are hidden from view, which takes a while to get used to. To preview an image, you need to swipe from the right, and there's no way to view the entire photo gallery in grid view, unless of course you jump straight into the Photos app. For the enthusiasts, there's no manual settings, but you do get simpler modes such as panorama, slow motion, time-lapse and HDR. For selfies, there's a built-in beauty mode feature which works for both front and back cameras. By the way, the front has a 5-megapixel shooter. There's also a clear image mode which takes bird shots to capture more details. The biggest question is this really a flagship killer? After playing with the device for a while, the answer is a big no. The performance, build quality, dual SIM 4G LTE connection, and that large 64GB storage capacity does tick the right boxes. But it isn't enough to be considered as a flagship killer, even for today's standards. It still can't beat the Galaxy S6 in terms of performance, display, camera, and the battery life isn't as great as Xperia Z3. Furthermore, it lacks NFC, which can be a deal breaker for some. Despite the shortfalls, it's still a decent flagship device, but it won't be enough to give the mainstream players sleepless nights. Even if you want to get one, it won't be easy as it goes through the notorious invite system, even for Malaysia. So that's it for now, and this is a video review of the OnePlus 2. Thanks for the likes, thanks for the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. This is royalchinchao.com, and catch you guys later.